So this is the first of a couple of exercises on text, and the exercise that you'll be doing first for text is actually filling out your title block. So we have an example here on screen. Just make it a little bit bigger, of the title block that we use for all of our exercises. Now you can see here that there's a few different styles used. The fonts that are shown on this particular example are only one way of doing it, and what I would normally suggest is that you use one of the simpler fonts to achieve the same purpose. AutoCAD's capable of doing all of the fonts that Windows makes available to us, but what we have to remember is that where we have curves and nice fancy fonts, that's all being drawn in AutoCAD by lines and arcs, and so it's making our drawing bigger and more complicated, taking up more room. There are some simple fonts that will achieve pretty much the same end and keep our drawings nice and small, so we'll talk about that as we go along. The first thing to look at here is the different types of fonts. We can use single line text and multi-line text. So first of all, let's have a look at single line text. Now I'll just change to the 2D drafting and annotation ribbon, and here under the Home tab, under annotation text, if we drop that down, we've got our multi-line text and our single line text. In most cases you'll find that single line text is going to do the job for us. So let's have a go at that first. It asks for a start point, so we just click somewhere on the screen. It's asking for a height of the text, and we can see it's defaulting to 2.5 millimeters. I won't change that, I'll just accept that. And we can have a rotation angle. That's the angle at which the text is inclined, so I'll just leave that as 0 for now. And then we type the text. So in engineering drawings we would normally use uppercase for text. That's really the standard, as you would have seen in that title block that we were just looking at. So single line text, if we press the enter key at the end of the line, we can keep going. We can also, before we finish that one-off command, click to another place on the screen and keep going until we press the enter key twice, and then that text is placed on the screen at the height that we specified. Okay, so there's a couple more things that we can specify. When we go into the single line text and type in, well, there's our size, we'll leave that. Actually, before, just do that again. Before we go for the size, you'll notice that it has an option here to justify and to select a style. First of all, let's look at justify. So if we press J for justify, we have all of these options. We've got ultimate control over the positioning of our text, and if we look back at that title block that we had up before, you can see that in some cases you want to position text exactly between 2 points, or you want to have it accurately located based on the position of some part of the text, either the top left or the bottom right, or you might want to actually center the text, the middle, based on the middle center position of the text. So all of those options are available to us here. Top left, top center, top right, middle left, middle center, middle right, bottom left, bottom center, bottom right. And there's also the generic ones, center, middle, right, and specific cases, align and fit, which we'll look at again. Now the default is bottom left, but if I was to say select top right, which we can click on, or we can type the letters in, and then it's saying specify the top right point. I'll just leave the height the same, the rotation the same, and then when I type in the word and finish off, it positions itself so that the point that I clicked is where it's located, as opposed to the original text, which was positioned in the bottom left position. Okay, next thing is font. Now if we start again and we go to S for style, it allows us to select a style name. Now this is not terribly accessible from the single line text. It's probably easier to look at if we go to edit some text. Now if we take one of these pieces of text and we right click and we look at the properties of this text, we can see that all of this information is available in the properties box that we've put into it. The actual text that we've written, which is context there, contents, so we can actually change that there, and you can see that it's changed on the screen behind. We can change the height, we can change the justification. We've got a drop down there, let's put it middle, so we've got pretty good control over it. Rotation, as I said before, is the inclination of the text, and obliquing, which we haven't looked at yet, allows us to do an italics type font. Now the one that we haven't looked at yet is style, and at the moment we've only got a standard style. If I click on the drop down, there is an annotative style, which don't really want to go into that at this point in time. That's for scaling in paper space. What we really want to do is to look at the setup of these styles. I was hoping that it would actually let me into it from here, but it looks like it's not going to let me choose or actually make a new style. So let's see if we can go back up to the annotation and get it into it from here. So we've got our text styles here in the drop down, and we can actually go to manage text styles. That's the box we're looking for. So these are the ones that are available to us, and we can make up as many as we want. So if we wanted to have one that was specifically for heading, for example, such as the big CAD drafting one there, we could make up a style that was set ready for that to go. So we would click on new, let's call it heading, I'll stay with capitals, and first of all we'd select the font. Now that's set on Arial at the moment. Traditionally in CAD we've always used the Roman series. So we've got Roman Simplex, which is like Arial. We've got Roman Duplex and Complex, which is more like the Times Roman font. So let's choose Roman C, and you can see that it's got the serifs on the end. It's a little bit more fancy, so it will be better for the heading. There's also a Roman T, which is a little bit more filled in again. Let's choose that one for now. We can preset the height here, so if I wanted to preset that to 10, I don't get the choice of changing that at the time when I'm writing it. If we leave it at 0, it will always ask us what size it is. Now there's a bit of a trap here. If you set the height of the text in the text style, and that text is used in dimensioning later on, it overrides the size that is specified in the dimensioning. So there's a bit of a trap there. If you're trying to change the dimension text size in the dimensioning style and it won't change, this is why, because it's locked into a particular size in the font, in the style. So let's, in this case, let's change that to say 6. Now width factor, we can illustrate that here. If we make that larger than 1, it gets short and fat. If we make it less than 1, a fraction, it gets tall and skinny. So you can see the effect there, and of course you can go upside down and